Good evening. Got the time is now 7:30. We'll call this public hearing and regular business meeting of the Mayor and Council for the City of Snellville, Georgia for Monday, January 14th, 2019 to order. First, we have the invocation from Reverend Josh Davis of Snellville Church of Christ.
If you would, bow with me. Dear gracious Heavenly Father, thank you so much for your mercy and your grace and your forgiveness and your love. Thank you for your guidance and your care and watching over us, Lord. And I pray that at this time you would be here with us in this meeting, that you would watch over the men and women on this council, that you would be with them and help to give them wisdom and guidance as they make decisions in regard to this city and this community. I pray that you'd help them to make the right decisions, to keep you in mind in your word. I pray that you'd help each and every one of us, men and women who are here, to be lights within our community. That you would help us to be the kind of example to those around us and to be servants to those around us in the way that your Son was a servant to us. I pray that you would help us, Lord, to always keep you in mind in the decisions that we make, and I pray that you'd help us to always, Lord, try to do our best in the things in this life. I pray that you just be with us now and watch over us in these things. It's in your Heavenly Father, in your Son's name that we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. Also, under the invocation, I would like to take just a moment. Some of you may have read in the paper that the Decula Mayor, Jimmy Wilbanks, passed away on January the 3rd. He had served the city of Decula for over 20 years through various terms and has been mayor, I think, for about 16 years there. So I would like to just recognize a moment of silence in honor of Mayor Wilbanks. Thank you all. Next, we'll have the pledge to the flag. We have Boy Scout Nigel McGee. He built a free little library at Oak Road Park. So if he would like to come forward and lead us in the pledge.
Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Nigel. We appreciate the work you did on the free little library. Under ceremonial matters, we have presentation of volunteer awards by the Snellville Tourism and Trade. Executive Director Kelly McAloon.
Thank you so much. And I would also like to ask you to come forward too, if you would, Mayor Pro Tem Bender. If it wasn't for Barbara and a few other people, we wouldn't even be here with Snellville Tourism and Trade today. So first of all, I want to thank her and all the efforts with the folks that put our organization together. And this award tonight, I'm going to turn around and ask Tom Morris to come up. And I don't know, is Don here? Don Britt? I don't think so. But Tom Morris served with us for 3 years on the board, and he was such a great asset. The last year serving as our vice president, and he brought a lot to the table. And most importantly, he helped bridge that great relationship we have with Eastside Medical Center. And thank you, Tom, for 3 wonderful years and all you've done for staff. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tom. Next, we'll approve the minutes. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes of the December 10th, 2018 meetings and the December 15th, 2018 work retreat.
There's a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That is 5 in favor and none opposed. We have no invited guests, and we have committee reports and department reports. The Evermore Community Improvement District, Mr. Emanuel.
Hi, at the December meeting, the CID approved the purchase of about 10 cameras, commonly called tag readers, that will be put up along Highway 78, some of which will be in the city. And these cameras will capture pretty much every vehicle that goes through the city. The thing that's really neat about it is the database is searchable, so you don't have to sit there and look at photos necessarily. If you know a license plate number, you can have the system do a search on that license plate number. If you're looking for trucks, you can tell it to do a search on trucks. And in the areas where they've been installed, it's really helped hold down crime and catch the perpetrators. You know, Snellville Police always does an outstanding job. This gives them another tool. Our police department will have access to these camera images, and hopefully crime will be even lower in Snellville.
Thank you, Councilmember. Next, we'll have an update on our Downtown Development Authority. Mr. Warner.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me out tonight. I'm actually not on the Downtown Development Authority. I'm the chair of the Development Authority of Snellville. I know it's kind of confusing. We're the alphabet soup. But we are having our yearly planning retreat this Thursday at the Walton EMC building out on Lenore Church Road. And it'll be from 9 a.m. until noon. It may go a little longer, and I've been assured that if we stay long enough, someone will feed us. You are all invited, as are all the members of our various boards, commissions, and authorities, because it's very important for us to get together as a team at least once a year and go over all the projects that we have both in process and look at things that we have coming down the road. I've heard rumors there are things that are going to be starting to happen. That includes our update of the comprehensive plan and hopefully the unified development ordinance, which affects every single one of our boards, commissions. So please, if you have time, come out and join us. And it is very important that we get the input of all of Snellville that we can. The other thing is we did not have any regular meetings in December because we kind of had holidays. So unless you all have any questions, that's it for tonight.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Warner? Thank you, Todd.
Thank you.
Next, we'll have the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve tonight's agenda, January 14th, 2019.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. It is 5 in favor and none opposed. We have no public hearing tonight, no consent agenda, and no old business, so we'll move right into new business. Consideration and action on election of Mayor Pro Tem. Mr. Powell?
Mayor Pro Tem, we have sort of a challenging process to go through tonight that really begins with the election of a Mayor Pro Tem, and it's sort of a charter step by step. And so the key ingredient of this are 3 charter or 1 charter provision and 2 code section, the most important of which is section 2-38. It's entitled in the Code of Ordinances Vice Chairman. It says the City Council shall select a Mayor Pro Tem from the council members at the beginning of each calendar year, who shall serve as the Vice Chairman. The Vice Chairman shall fulfill the duties of the Chairman if the Chairman is not in attendance. And so two other provisions are relevant. It's Code Section 2-172, Charter Section 2-28. The most important part of that is that the mayor pro tem assumes the duties and has all the powers of the mayor when the mayor is disabled or absent. In our case, the mayor, the elected mayor, is Tom Witz, whose resignation is also on this agenda. So the person who steps into this role of mayor pro tem will have the important responsibility of at least calling the name of the person who is to be designated as the mayor in replacement of Mr. Witt's term. So that's the import. That's the reason it's a critical decision. It is not, the selection of mayor pro tem is not something that would happen at any other time, except it has to happen every year at this initial meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. And with that explanation, I'll take a motion to elect a mayor pro tem.
I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Dave Emanuel as our mayor pro tem.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second to appoint Dave Emanuel as mayor pro tem. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That is 4 in favor. Any opposed? And 1 abstention. Congratulations, Mayor Pro Tem Emanuel. And with that, we will now switch places.
Okay, our next order of business is consideration and action, first reading of amendment to Chapter 6, alcohol beverage. The applicant has requested that we table this indefinitely due to some clarification. So I will take a motion at this time.
Motion to table the first reading on amendment to Chapter 6, alcoholic beverages, tabled indefinitely.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? It's 5 in favor, 0 opposed. Next item is consideration on action on an approval of community block grant guidance proposal. Mr. Sanders.
Mayor Pro Tem and Council, we've received a proposal from Craig Goebel in the amount of $6,000 to help us wind our way through the Community Development Block Grant application process this year, which will allow us to compete for funds that the county disperses through their HUD entitlement program. We have attempted in the past and not been successful. I think Mr. Goebel has a great track record of success, and I'm recommending that we enter into an agreement with Craig and his company in the amount of $6,000 for the next application process. He's already done quite a bit of research on our behalf, and I think we're ready to finally obtain some CDBG funds. So I would recommend that the agreement be approved.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve an agreement with Craig Goebel of RCG Consulting Solutions in the amount of $6,000 for the Community Development Block Grant guidance.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? 5 in favor, 0 opposed. Next item, D, consideration and action on award of bid for Parks and Recreation John Deere crossover utility vehicle. You want to enlighten us again?
We went out to bid several months ago, replacing an old piece of equipment which will be utilized for parts for a John Deere crossover utility vehicle, better known as a Gator. We went out for bids, and only one company met all of our specs, and that's Ag Pro of Grayson. So we're recommending the purchase of the Gator vehicle in the amount of $15,733.95. That includes a change to a diesel engine over the gas.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Motion to award the bid for Parks and Recreation John Deere crossover utility vehicle to Ag Pro of Grayson, not to exceed the amount of $15,733.95.
Second. Anybody?
Second?
All in favor? 5 in favor, 0. This is easy. Next item is consideration and action on acceptance of resignation letter of Mayor Tom Witz. Mr. Powell.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, this is we're back to some complicated steps that are really initiated under the E item, but I'd like to walk through, if it's okay, the really the rest of this agenda in terms of the procedural basis for which these decisions are made. On December the 17th, the city, through the mayor and members of council, received a letter which was the resignation letter of the office of mayor from Mr. Witz. That being received, we have charter provisions that really won't trigger a vacancy in the office until it's actually accepted and starts that process. So our office asked that it be placed on the agenda because of the way the charter reads. The person who is serving stays in that seat until their resignation is actually accepted and their replacement is appointed, which this is the first opportunity that you've had to accomplish those two final steps. Once you receive that resignation document, then our charter has some specific provisions that are not ambiguous. These are very clear provisions. To give you an example of these, it's the same ones that the city of Decula implemented with Mayor Wilbanks, although their time period is a little bit longer. And it's the exact same provision that is implemented in Lawrenceville with my resignation that they will take up really on Wednesday. The provision comes from a standard provisions that are built into charters, and it's the recommendation of the Georgia Municipal Association, which almost all cities have adopted. The language in the city of Snellville ordinance is identical to the language that's recommended by the GMA, and it was adopted in 2004. The story begins with charter provision, which is section 210, and it says the mayor and council members shall be elected in a manner provided by general law and this charter. So we looked at two places for the instruction. One is the charter with specific provisions regarding election of mayor and council members. The second is section 210C, and it says any person serving as mayor or as council member of a different post desiring to become a candidate for city council member shall resign his or her post of mayor and council member of a different post upon qualifying as a candidate for that member. Vacancies in office, and this is really the principal provision, which is charter provision 2.12. It's filling of vacancies, and a vacancy in the office of mayor or council member shall be filled for the remainder of the unexpired term, if any, by appointment of the mayor and confirmed by the city council if less than 12 months remain in the unexpired term. So a unique thing about the city of Snellville is that their terms end at the first council meeting after the election takes place. So that's a November, that's a second week of November event. So the December resignation of Mr. Witz put him clearly within the time frame of the 12-month requirement. So the burden falls on the mayor pro tem and the city council members to make the selection of the new mayor. And there is no other provision that would apply to this. As I've said, that's exactly the GMA provision. It's annotated to tell us exactly how that applies. In this case, it's identical to the other cities. There are policy issues that go along with that appointment process. One is it's usually a cost issue that involves both the cost of running a campaign and the cost of having an election process paid for by the city. When you get that close into an election that's going to happen anyway, it's both the cost to the people who have to run for the office and the cost of those. Probably the bigger issue with regard to this policy by GMA is that when you get within 12 months, you're talking about relationships with your staff, you're operating with your department heads and your city manager, and those things, if you have to start over with an election process and then a warm-up process, the law has been consistently applied to say that's not a smart thing to do, to start over at this point where things are in motion. So the policy has been, let those who are experienced, who know where the city is, who know the relationships, pick the person who would serve that very short period of time and then move on to the election. It's continuity of leadership and decision-making without a warm-up. I think those are sound policies, and that's why this has been a provision that's been adopted by most cities. There is a little bit of an issue, and you heard it when I read the second part of this, is that somebody serving in office has to resign their office in order to be eligible to be elected. The process that we're going through does not really allow that to occur. In the normal case, you qualify, and we've seen that number of times. You qualify, you then become ineligible for your old office, but you're eligible for your new office. Well, the hard part about that is the people who are probably highest on the list of selection in this case are people who are members of this board. And members of this board have some unique things that happen when this occurs. So my recommendation with regard to the Mayor Pro Tem's appointment is that he make that appointment based on the person having the opportunity to fulfill the contingency of resignation and acceptance at the same time. And so, or really back to back once that nomination. My recommendation to you is that nomination from the Mayor Pro Tem be contingent upon the resignation. Qualifications are exactly the same. The person selected has to be eligible. They have to be a resident of the city for 12 months. They have to meet all of the other qualifications of office, and that's section 2.11. Once that election and appointment has been made, then there's the obligation under 2.18 to immediately administer the oath of office. In the organizational meeting of the city, it empowers the city clerk to actually do that. If you look beyond the GMA form and look at the other provisions that are annotated, probably the most important one, and this is an issue that has come up, is that from time to time you will see the governor becoming involved in the selection of a replacement when somebody's been removed or resigned. And the provision for that is the Georgia Constitution, Article 5, Section 2, Paragraph 8. And it says the governor shall promptly fill such vacancy unless otherwise provided by the Constitution or by law. So with the legislature having selected the process that we're talking about as the exclusive method for the selection of a 12-month period, the governor really doesn't have the authority to make this appointment. It's been decided by previous law that was set by the legislature. So first step in that process is the acceptance of former Mayor Tom Witt's. The second is the appointment by the Mayor Pro Tem of a proposed, and then the council's confirmation of that selection. The third thing on your agenda is one that you would be doing tonight, regardless of these other technicalities, and the law requires us to set the qualifying fees and the post for election in November of 2019. The last is that if you choose one of the members of this body to serve, that it be done contingently upon their acceptance, and once that's done, there is the possibility that we would have to have a special election called, and we would just like to implement that process tonight because the time frames for notices are pretty tight, and we need to get the notices in the paper. It makes a difference if you select one of your members that is up for election. Their post would be up for election in November. Then you will not have a special election. It would then fall upon this council to appoint somebody to replace them in the same manner you're doing the mayor. If you select one of your members whose term is longer than the November term, then there's a requirement of a special election in March of 2019.
Do you want to read Tom's letter?
I can. On item number E, going back up to the mayor's resignation, this is what was published to the city. It says, it's directed to the Honorable Barbara Bender, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the City Council of the City of Snellville, Georgia. Dear Barbara and members of council, today I resolve the accusations of a series of criminal indictments against me. My plea was offered under the terms of the case of North Carolina versus Alford, which allowed me not to admit any guilt, but to accept the terms of the sentencing agreement offered by the district attorney because it was in my best interest to do so. Based on the terms of the agreement, I am required to resign my office effective immediately. In compliance with the district attorney's requirement, I hereby resign as the mayor of the city of Snellville, Georgia. May God bless you and protect our great city. I wish you all the best. Sincerely, Tom Witz.
Do I have a motion to accept Mr. Witt's resignation letter?
Motion to accept the resignation letter of Mayor Tom Witz.
And do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please raise your hand. 5 in favor, 0 opposed. Next item is consideration and action on appointment for the unexpired term of mayor. The envelope, please. I'd like to make the motion pursuant to Section 2.12 of the Charter of the City of Snellville, Georgia, and pursuant to the authority of Section 2.28 and the Code of Ordinance Section 2-38 and 2-172, as a mayor pro tempore of the city, I hereby appoint Barbara Bender as mayor of the City of Snellville, subject to the contingency that she vacate her current office as a member of the City Council as a prerequisite to accepting this appointment. Do we have your?
You have to take a vote on that. The council has to
vote first? Okay.
Has to approve the motion that you just
Okay. Oh, do I have a second?
You don't need
Second.
I don't need a second.
You don't need a second.
Never mind.
I just want to be sure. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That's 3 in favor. Any opposed? 1 opposed? And 1 abstention. So the motion passes.
Okay.
I'll receive your letter of resignation, and then Melissa will give you the oath of office.
That goes to the clerk.
Thank you all. And thank you to the council for your support in this nomination. I appreciate that and your confidence in me to lead the city until the end of the term in November. So next, we'll move to item G, consideration and action on approval of resolution 2019-01, qualifying fees for the 2019 general election. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 2019-01, qualifying fees for the 2019 general election.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
So motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. That is 5 in favor and none opposed. Okay, so now my post, former post 5 term extends for 3 years, so we will do a call of election for that post. It's Resolution 2019-02, whereas the City of Snellville will hold a special election Tuesday, March 19th, 2019, for the purpose of electing a member of City Council to fill the recently vacated post 5. And whereas the qualifying period for candidates opens Tuesday, January 22nd, 2019 at 8:30 a.m. and closes on Thursday, January 24th, 2019 at 12:30 p.m. The hours of qualifying Tuesday and Wednesday shall be from 8:30 until 4:30 with 1 hour allowed for lunch break, and Thursday shall be from 8:30 until 12:30 p.m. Any person desiring to run for this office shall qualify in the office of the city clerk by filing a notice of candidacy. And whereas the filing fee or the qualifying fee for the council seat is $240, and whereas the voter registration deadline for this election is February the 19th, 2019, and whereas the city clerk, Melissa Arnold, is hereby appointed as municipal election superintendent and absentee ballot clerk, and Ariane Stone is appointed as assistant election superintendent and deputy absentee ballot clerk. And whereas the city clerk, Melissa Arnold, is hereby directed to publish an advertisement in the legal organ notifying the cities of the qualifying period and the qualifying fee. And whereas this special election will be held in the Snellville City Hall, located at 2342 Oak Road. The polls will open at 7 a.m. and close at 7 p.m. Be it resolved by the mayor and council of the city of Snellville, Georgia, that the city of Snellville will hold a special election on Tuesday, March the 19th, 2019, for the purpose of electing a member of city council to fill the recently vacated post 5. The qualifying period, qualifying fee, voter registration deadline, election superintendent, and other poll workers, the advertisement and time and location of the election will all be as noted and described here and above. If no candidate receives a majority vote, then a runoff election will be held on Tuesday, April 16th, 2019 at the same location. Adopted this 14th day of January 2019. With the reading of that resolution, is there a motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 2019-02, special election authorized for March 19th for Post 5, City Council.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. It's 5 in favor and none opposed. With that, that closes our regular business portion of the meeting, so we'll go to council reports. Councilmember Marmol.
I'm going to start off by reading Section 212 in the Charter, filling of vacancies. A vacancy in the office of mayor and council member shall be filled for the remainder of the unexpired term, if any, by the appointment of the mayor and confirmed by the council. Tony brought up the cost of elections. We've spent millions buying up property that taxpayers will be ultimately responsible for. So an election is irrelevant for cost. He brought up relationships with staff and starting over. That's part of being newly elected. He brought up other cities have done this. Other cities have also had elections for mayor when there was less than 12 months left on their term. Our charter is not clear on the appointment of mayor. A mayor cannot be appointed by a mayor. Some cities clearly state what the procedure is when the mayor's seat becomes vacant. Ours does not. Every action from here on becomes jeopardized because of this vote until there is a proper election or amending of the charter. To me, this is simple. We are a representative form of government in which the people vote for their leaders. The government does not simply appoint them to you. We are having a special election to fill a city council seat. We should also have one for mayor. Nonetheless, the vote was passed. And what the government is telling you is that you may vote for a council person, but not for the mayor's seat. That's too important to let people vote for. We can't leave that for chance. This, to me, is bad precedence and bad governance. Snellville has gone to many court hearings before, been in court many times before, and the results tend to set bad precedents that other cities tend to abuse and follow. This is yet another example of that. If a city ever comes into another situation similar to Snellville, now they can also cite a similar situation, which is the Snellville case. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe in a better form of government, one in which the people are represented in fair and open election processes and not politics as usual. Before I came into office, I had seen this same process. That's why I wrote this out, because I knew this was going to happen. I have seen this process play out time and time again. And I saw how angry the people became. The people's anger eventually leading to numerous replacements by those in office. To me, it's always been simple. We represent and strive to become a better city through multiple views and perspectives. An election is where you have various individuals campaigning for your vote. It is there where hopefully the individual is tested and pushed into becoming a better version of themselves. It is in that process in which the individuals tell you, the people, why you should vote for them. And it is in that process in which you hear new and old ideas which will ultimately lead to a better or worse future. When I campaigned for my seat, my wife and I spent every weekend for over 6 months knocking on thousands of doors. We spoke with countless events, spoke with all kinds of people. We had a handful of unpleasant encounters, such as when a lady sicked the dog at us, or when there was a police called on us. But most of them were wonderful and beautiful, because it was part of the sacrifice I paid to represent you. A sacrifice that made me better. A sacrifice I expect those who wish to make decisions on your behalf that are going to affect all the citizens of Snellville for future generations to have to go through. Appointment of a politician by politicians with an unclear charter is not right.
Thank you, Councilmember Marmol. Councilmember Linsky.
The Snellville Youth Commission met on Saturday, and the students are planning with incredible enthusiasm for the Youth Summit that will take place on February 23rd and a Saturday from 12 to 4. Our guest speaker at the conclusion will be our new Gwinnett County Board of Education member, Everton Blair. So the students are really excited about putting on special in-service sessions for other students. This is a chance to reach out to other teens in our community and to engage them in the process of local government, civics and action, leadership and service. I'd like to also take a moment to congratulate our new mayor, Barbara Bender, as well as Mayor Pro Temp. It's a little difficult to say there, Dave Emanuel. Does this mean we have to listen to him? Okay. Okay, so sorry. And I'd also like to take a special moment to thank Tom Witz for his years of tremendous service to the city of Snellville.
Thank you, Councilmember Linsky. Councilmember Schultz?
Yes, I also want to congratulate our I'm sorry, I forgot to turn my microphone on. I want to congratulate our new mayor, Barbara Bender. It's been a pleasure to work with her, and I have such respect for her leadership abilities, and I'm very grateful that she will be leading us at least for the rest of the mayor's term until November. And congratulate Mayor Pro Tem Dave Emanuel. And I appreciate Tony Powell giving us that very lengthy explanation of what our charter requires in these situations where we have a vacancy for a term that is expiring in less than a year, which was the case of our mayor's term, and a term that exceeds that 12-month period. We all took an oath of office when we became council members, saying that we would support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Georgia, and the charter and ordinances of the city of Snellville. And we really don't have a choice in the procedure that we follow. We must follow our charter. And I just wanted to make that statement that I don't feel that we have a choice but to follow our charter as it is written. I would also like to let everybody know, on another note, of some real progress at the community garden. You know, that's always been one of my babies, I guess. Just within the last 2 weeks, we installed an 8-foot by 8-foot greenhouse inside the big greenhouse at the community garden. And we were able to purchase this smaller greenhouse with grant money from the Atlanta Foodwell Alliance. And what this allows us to do is to start germinating some seeds for vegetables and flowers at this time of the year, when normally we wouldn't be able to do so. And also the expense of trying to heat that large greenhouse is not possible for us. So we're excited about this new venture that we have going with our little greenhouse and the big greenhouse. And so I just wanted to tell you about that. We had our last extended season Snellville Farmers Market the first Saturday in January. And although it was a little chilly, it was a great success. We had about 12 vendors there, and the vendors that came all seemed to be very happy with the amount of business that they did. The customers that came, although they don't stay long like they do during the summer market because it is chilly, but they came and they left with full tote bags of produce and meats and baked goods. So we feel like it's a very successful venture for the farmers market, and we're pleased with how it's going. Our next one will be the first Saturday in February, and we'll hope it's maybe a little warmer.
Thank you, Councilmember Schultz. And Mayor Pro Tem Emanuel.
Thank you. I would also like to express my sincerest gratitude to Tom Litz. He did an awful lot for the city. We would not be at the point we are with so many good things going on were it not for his dedication and hard work. We owe him a very large debt of gratitude. And I'd also like to congratulate our new mayor. I can't think of anybody better suited to fill that role than Barbara Bender. She's been on the council since, I think, before I was born, and
No, I don't know about that.
has been involved and has always been a very strong proponent of Snellville and Snellville's success. Frankly, I was a little bit shocked by Councilman Marmel's diatribe, for lack of a better term, against the process. The process is clearly defined. I would suggest that he work to change the charter rather than grandstanding about a situation over which we had no control. I think we did what the state requires, what the charter requires, and I think we made the best decision for the city.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. And now for the mayor's report. I just have a couple of things here. First of all, Happy New Year. It's, I know, odd that we're already halfway into January, but this is the first time we've all been together, and so I hope your New Year's gotten started off on a good foot, and 2019 looks good for everybody. The council had our annual retreat on December the 15th. Again, it's already been a month, but we haven't been before all of you about that, and we did have a great day, a lot of good discussion, and plans and goals were set for this coming year, so I'm looking forward to implementing that. A reminder to all of you that the city's comprehensive plan is up on the website. We are still accepting any revisions, any comments that you have on that plan. You can locate it on our website. There's a link there to the 2040 comprehensive plan and the documents there that you can download in a PDF. Any comments that you would like to make are due back by the 25th, and then we'll get with the writers of the plan to see what kind of changes or adjustments need to be made. It is important, that is a good planning document for us, so it's important that we have our goals and our policies and everything set right for going forward, because that is our guide for new development in the city. So it is very, very important. I again would like to thank the council for the nomination, for their support and confidence in my leadership as mayor. Going forward, I'm really looking forward to helping this council and help us navigate here the next couple of months. We are really, really close on having some agreements in place to actually get started on our town center. Still have a couple of key pieces we've got to get arranged. So hopefully soon we are going to have some good notices to be putting out to all of you on that. But I look forward to it, and again, I appreciate the support and all of your kind words. As the new mayor, I would like to make a pledge to the city to represent the citizens of Snellville to the best of my abilities in a professional and respectful manner, to work with this council to keep them well informed of anything going on with the city and with the staff, to listen with an open mind to all views, and to engage in and require respectful debates on issues, and to help build consensus on issues that are important to the city. I think all of this is very important for us as we go ahead. I have no doubt that this council will help me fulfill that pledge. We really do have a great group of people up here. We're able to disagree, and we're able to discuss and debate and usually come to a much better decision than the initial idea that was thrown out there. And as several of the council members too addressed, I would like to thank Mayor Tom Wentz for his work and his efforts here in the city. He really did a phenomenal job as council member and as mayor. And just a few of the things that he had either instigated or was one of the founding members or one of the key instigators to getting things done of the city was Snellville's Veterans Memorial, the Farmers Market, the Tourism and Trade Association, the Community Garden, and the Spirit Magazine. Those are just some of the things that he was a key person in getting those programs off the ground, and all of those have been a tremendous success through a lot of hard work from people. And I just sincerely appreciate and want to thank him for the work that he's done. And again, to ask all of you to keep Tom and Carol Witz both in your prayers, as he's still undergoing chemo treatment for his colon cancer, and his wife just had surgery for her bladder cancer on Friday. So if you will keep them in your constant prayers, I would appreciate that, and I know he would as well. With that, I will end the mayor's report, and we'll open the floor to public comments. We do have someone signed up, so if they want to come first, Teresa and Jessica, is it Lotson? Watson? Well, Watson, I'm sorry. Come on up. That's my handwriting there. Yeah. That's a W, not an L-O. Just please state your name and address for the record.
You want to do that?
Hi, Jessica Watson. Home address? Yeah. 3242 Clearview Drive, Snellville.
And want mine? Yes, please. I'm Teresa Watson, 109 Sabre Court, Chapel Hill, North Carolina. So I wanted to say I went to the council meeting, the youth council, and I met Krista Linsky. And she gave me the opportunity to at least share that we, Jessica and I, have opened up a business here in Snellville, and wanted to share that with the council and the members here today. It is called the European Wax Center at 1679 Scenic Highway, and we're open 2 years now. And what else should I tell you? And just really wanted you to know, because we want to be clear to the Snellville community and wherever community that we live in. And so we've done our due diligence. We've purchased a home here, and we've gotten out in the community and look forward to actually doing and joining one of your commission, one of your volunteer council. And the youth is what I looked at. Jessica, there are 6 kids in our family. Well, she has 5 sisters and brothers. And she's been tutoring since she's been 8, so that appealed to us. And look forward to seeing you guys there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming in. If there's anyone else, please.
Kelly McAloon, 2916 Overwood Lane, Snellville. First of all, what an excellent choice. Just couldn't be happier that we have Barbara Bender, our new mayor, leading Snellville. And Dave Emanuel, congratulations as Mayor Pro Tem. Excellent choice by the council. Everybody does an excellent job, but again, to echo Barbara and Dave, I want to give thanks to Tom Witz, too, for the many, many things he's done for this city. And like he always said, he left the city in a better place than he came to the city, and he sure did. If it wasn't for Tom and Barbara, I wouldn't be standing here today, or would our members of Snellville and Tourism and Trade that are here be here. So thank you for that. Thank you to Tom Witz, and again, yes, please keep them both in prayer. Thank you.
Tricia Rollins, 2088 Harbor Oaks Drive. Congratulations, Barbara Bender, Barbara Bender, Mayor Pro Tem Emanuel. And I also would like to thank Tom for what he did. The city is much better after having Tom Wentz here. And I represent a neighborhood group, SNAP, which Tom helped to form in a way. He heard the residents and helped us to form, and we're better for that. I do come with an issue tonight. How can our city know that we are so bright with our street lights out? I've counted over 40 street lights. I've sent Walton EMC a letter, or 2 letters, with street lights out. It is said that our police officers are supposed to be watching the street lights. I don't think our police officers ought to be watching street lights. I need them in my neighborhoods. I need them watching our cars, our doors, not looking up at streetlights. I need somebody from the city to talk to Walton EMC and see what the problem is. The 40, almost probably close to 60 of the streetlights are on the north side of the town. I haven't even approached them about the south side of the city because I'm not seeing the ones on the north side being changed. The ones that I have seen being changed are being changed to a low orange glow at major intersections, Oak Road and 124 to be one place specific, has a low glow orange light. That's a major crossway for some residents. There's probably 10 right now, 10 to 12 out on 78. There's probably 8 to 12 on 124. Like I said, I've placed the emails in with Walton EMC. I've talked to Assistant Chief Perry about them. It just appears that nothing's being done. And how can we show the public what a bright city we have if we don't get these street lights on here in Snellville? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rollins. We'll take a look at that and see what we can do.
Happy New Year. Congratulations. Congratulations. I'm here with an old issue, and that's the plaques for the benches outside City Hall. Do you know where we stand on that, Butch?
We are working on that. I asked the Historical Society for information so we could get something down on a plaque.
Okay.
And Butch and I got that email back from Marlene Buchanan, and I think it's probably, we need to look at that and see what.
Cutting the wording down to make it.
Okay.
The history book that they gave us back won't fit on a little plaque, so.
I don't doubt that.
So, but we do have, you know, where they came from, and we just need to get the wording and put this on there.
Okay. My other issue is, Mr. Marmel, you have the opportunity to give your opinion, and I have the opportunity to give my opinion. You may have walked for 6 months throughout the city talking to everyone, but since you've been in that seat, you have never made a motion, second a motion, or let anybody know what you do. So as far as I'm concerned, you're just taking up space. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Swinney.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Bobby Howard, 2240 Pinehurst Road, Snellville, Georgia. I felt compelled to come up here. I sat for 6 years and jockeyed one of those seats. I certainly appreciate the effort, the heart it takes to do the job you're doing. Tony Powell, thank you for the clarity, the guidance, always city first attitude when it comes to guiding our city. I also want to thank Tom Wetz. For the years that I spent on council, he and I both served. And despite all the stuff, our city is better because he served here. And I acknowledge that and I thank him for that. I also know that I can't do a thing in the world about 15 minutes ago. I can't do anything about 10 seconds ago. So as I see this council here looking forward now, and I see such a bright future, and I wanted to thank y'all for that bright future. And it takes a tremendous heart to do what you currently sit here and do. And I want to thank each of you for that heart, and I think our citizens thank you as well. But I just felt like it was my duty to stand before you and look at each of you and say thank you, because I know how hard what you do is. Butch, I know what you do is not easy. I know working with you is not easy sometimes. I get that. I understand that. You didn't think I was going to run out of here unfeathered, did you? All seriousness, everybody that sits on this dais up here has a heart the size of Texas, and they love this city, and it shows every day with what you do. So look forward from here. Let's look to a brighter future. Let's make the city even better than it is today, because what we have is a good city. Don't think for a minute we don't. Don't think for a minute we don't have the finest law enforcement team on the ground here. We don't have the finest public works department. We don't have the finest public utilities. We have everything. We have the parks department. We have good stuff. And what we have, we should be proud of and we should talk about. Don't ever be embarrassed about talking about the goodness of our city. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Howard.
Kurt Schultz, 2027 Tanglewood Drive. Congratulations, Barbara and Dave and the rest of the council who made this decision. And thank you for following the charter and your oath of office, because that's the way this had to be done. And one other thing that Tony has said repeatedly, and maybe Chuck also at previous meetings, about the powers of the mayor pro tem. While our mayor was missing, the mayor pro tem has all the powers of the mayor, and therefore what was done tonight was perfectly acceptable, because this was the mayor making these decisions that had to be done. And I'm sure Gretchen forgot about this, but I'll speak for the both of us about Tom Witz. He has did some great things for the city. And, one thing you forgot was about the portable stage. That has brought so many great times to the city, and he was, the spearhead in getting that done. And anyway, that's brought such pride and joy and professionalism to, the events the city has had. And just want to thank you all for what transpired tonight. This is going to be good for the city. One question I have, when you set the future election on down the road, you mentioned that the qualifying fee was $240 for, is that correct, or is it $120?
No, that's correct, because I was going to question it as well, but then I saw some more detail. It's 3% of the salary.
Oh, okay, so that's based on the new salaries.
The salary
Gotcha.
will go up.
Okay, thank you so much, and thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Anyone else? Mr. Everson. Mr. New Vice President of Economic Development for Gwinnett Tech.
Thank you so much. Melvin Everson, 1725 Winding Creek Circle, Snellville, Georgia. As you stated, newly promoted to Vice President of Economic Development at Gwinnett Technical College, covering both campuses, the one in Lawrenceville as well as the one in North Fulton. Invited the council to open house of the new renovated Cisco Auditorium at Gwinnett Tech, where we can accommodate 500 seating in that new facility. That's going to be held the 31st of this month, which is a Thursday evening from 5 to 7. Come tour that facility and see all the latest amenities we have there to accommodate you if you so happen to want to utilize that venue for your service. And congratulations, Mayor, and congratulations, Mayor Pro Tem Dave Emanuel. And I too want to echo my sentiments to former Mayor Tom Witz. Snellville is much better because of his leadership and what he has accomplished here in this city. And former council member Bobby Howard said it best. There are a lot of great things in Snellville. A lot of great things. I've been here since 1988. I've seen tremendous progress. My son, product of South Gwinnett High School, proud UGA grad, go Dogs. Snellville is great, and I just want to thank you all for what you do. Having sat in those seats there, I know how tough it is. It's difficult to make tough decisions. As I tell everyone every day, as an elected official, your popularity is as high as it will ever be on election day. From there, everyone is watching everything you do, everything you do. So I appreciate the hard work of all of you for speaking your minds. When you disagree, we can all disagree, but at the end of the day, we move forward for the betterment of the citizens of Snellville. And just thank you so much. One quick question. The second roundabout, when will the process begin? Because I love the first one.
Well, we're hoping February.
February? Okay.
Weather delays on the first one.
Okay.
Isn't that right?
The completion of the first one should take place as soon as the weather gets a little better. The second one will be bid out at the end of this month.
Okay. Thank you. God bless you. All right.
Anyone else? One more.
Todd Warner, 3144 Turf Terrace, Snellville, Georgia. I am breaking the first law of politics, particularly here in Snellville, and that is speaking after Melvin Everson. So please.
I was about to call the chief.
Yeah. I had the pleasure of serving shoulder to shoulder, arm in arm with many of you, either on the Planning Commission or up on the dais as a council member, and I had the joy, the absolute joy of serving with Tom Witz, and I want to thank him for his service. Congratulations. If I don't become a blubbering idiot, I just want to say two things. Well, maybe three. That is very daunting, having the countdown going on while I'm standing here. Could you put it behind us so we wouldn't? Yeah, okay. That's no, because when I've been shouted down by a mayor before for not speaking to the dais, so I learned my lesson. I am trainable, although sometimes unmanageable. That being said, I know how hard your job can be. I've spent time in those seats. I've made hard decisions, hopefully that you will never have to revisit ever. That being said, we have to remember as we move forward that we have to move forward as a team. Whatever our disagreements, let's cast them aside and move forward together as a team for the betterment of the city. We have a lot on our plate. We have a lot coming up. And I want to let y'all know that we do have some vacancies on our boards and commissions that have gone unfilled. And sadly, we're going to have some more because it's my intention to put my hat in the ring, so to speak, for the open council seat. I think I may have a little bit of qualification. Stop it. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get to 1 second left, or 007. So that means we will have an opening on the Planning Commission, which we already have one, and we will have an opening on the Snellville Development Authority of Snellville. That's what it is. And those are two very important positions. They're two things that we really need to make sure go forward because we do have a lot on our plate. But again, thank you all for your service. Tony, thank you for shining the light for all of us who have been in public service to actually keep your word. And when you say you're only going to serve so long, to actually say, hey, time's up. It's time to go. Luckily, I never said that, so I'm good. And I have 1 minute and 48 seconds. I want to thank you all for your service again. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Warner. Anyone else? Ms. Marmol.
I'll be quick. Brittany Marmol, 2851 Hickory Trail, Snellville. We also have an open spot that's been open for a while for our Parks and Rec Board. So if anyone's interested, it is quite a nice board. We only meet every other month. So, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Marmol. Anyone else? Seeing none, I will close public comment. Now, we were in exec session before this meeting, and we were in exec session for all three items: litigation, real estate, and personnel. We weren't able to finish our discussion during the time frame that we had, so we recessed, and we're going to go back into exec session for personnel. And then once we adjourn that, we're not expecting any other action to come out of that executive session. So with that, I need a motion to return to the executive session.
Motion to return to exec session.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? That's 5 in favor and none opposed. So let's go about 10 minutes, everybody. Make your way to the conference room.